Hey there viewers, my name's Torinski and welcome back to another DCSS Sunday. Today we're of course jumping back into the usual, trying to get a win with every species in the game, and hopefully, if I'm not being too optimistic, we can get through to the end of Deep Elf today. We had a pretty good start on our last run here with Celebrimbor, the Wanderer of Gozag, thanks to a very lucky fated altar. So we definitely still have some stuff to do. We have an orb to grab, a dungeon to survive, but hopefully, as long as everything goes according to plan, we should be in a good spot. So without further ado, let's get ready to hop back into it and try and remember where we left off. We had just gotten a few of the spells that we had been desperately hoping for, most namely Statue Form and Ignition. So we're just gonna have to fumble through the next little while here, trying to train up the necessary skills to be able to cast them, and then we should be in a pretty decent spot for the future. Who's to say how it's all gonna end up though? As for the moment, we will probably continue exploring down the dungeon. In Swamp, we left a Thorn Hunter waiting for us. In Snake, our entrance was surrounded by a few goons that we were a little bit worried about dying to in a couple of turns as we walked down. Elf, not horrible. We don't have resistance to electricity, but we at least have decent willpower this time around, good fire and cold resistance, so it might be an option if we start to run out of steam here right away. But for now, as mentioned, we still have the regular old dungeon. Can also double check our skills. Right now we are kind of training some of these just to get them to a nice cap. In fact, conjurations, let's just leave you at 15, and spellcasting can probably just come up to 10 for now. We'll focus on getting statue form first, and then maybe just end up putting on fire magic and nothing else, and really just cranking that bad boy up to 20, 22-ish. We'll have to see. Unfortunately, because we had the Wanderer start, we're a little bit lower in intelligence, at least base intelligence, and we don't exactly have the stats on our outfit to supplement that, especially with these gloves giving us that -4 intelligence, but definitely worth it just to save up a ring spot for now, or free up rather. So with that out of the way, I guess we're ready to hop back into it. Always a bit nerve-wracking jumping back into a run. You gotta remember where exactly we were at power-wise, what kind of fights we can handle versus which ones we should just immediately sprint in the other direction, but I'm sure we'll get the hang of it. Ideally before we die. That's the plan at least. So let's see here. Tengu, son of a gun. Are you a conjurer, I'm assuming? You are. That's good. At least we're not dealing with any Reavers yet. I would hope not in D14. Still somebody with very good evasion, so you know what, let's start with Fulminant Prism. I was kind of hoping that would wake you up and you'd start walking towards us. Guess we can Manifold Assault to do a similar thing. Not too bad. It should still do the trick. And ideally, that's a big enough explosion. Took out one of you. We can probably take this troll upstairs as well. That doesn't seem too sketchy. Radiate just slightly out of the bounds for our magic there, but we're a-okay. And we saw there was an ugly thing popping around the corner here. We still have one more conjurer. Can probably still safely make it down and back up these stairs. Perfect. Just have a way through this. I guess there's no real point. We probably should have just irradiated, save some time, make sure that I don't accidentally put myself in a precarious position this early on in the evening. But still a good little reminder here, a nice little warm up as we get back into it. That's not horrible. Do I take you three upstairs? I think we do. At least that blast goes off, so that's fantastic. And Irradiate doing absolute wonders. Fantastic stuff. Unfortunately, with getting these spells and needing to throw all of our experience into Earth Magic Transmutations and eventually Fire Magic, it does kind of put off some of the defensive skills I wanted to get rolling here, specifically shields. We did find I think a Kite Shield of Reflection at some point in this run, and we have a cold resistance one on us. But it's looking like that might be a little ways off here. I say as I start to choke on my own saliva, proving once and for all definitively that I am a fully functioning human being. Oh, geez Louise. Give me a moment here. Oh, what a start to the day. Immediately. Exceptionally teary-eyed, but at least this time it's not because our friend got killed in front of us, one of our poor deep elves here, so that's nice. A better reason for tears at the very least. I don't think we have to worry about you banishing us anymore. 0%, that is what we like to see. Otherwise we can just kind of do the usual routine here. Bring all of our friends upstairs with us. Fantastic stuff. Hey Savid, how's it going? Hope your weekend is going well. You had a great run where you accidentally forsook Bio on Zot 2 and then died to Orbs of Fire. Oh no, you performed the greatest of all heresies. I expect it from other people, but from you, Savid, the one true messiah of Bio, unforgivable. But that's still very sorry to hear. Sounds about right, though. Usually that's not the time in the game that you you want to accidentally gain penance under your god. So I'm sorry to hear it. You know what, let's actually stay up here, because we can drop a fulminant prism in the back. Fantastic. Just rinse and repeat. We'll still be relying on fulminant prism for a decent little while here as one of our main damage sources, at least until we get some of these other things online. Should also move my mouse real quick. Fantastic. But fulminant prism, fortunately, is definitely a pretty solid spell for exactly this kind of maneuver, so it should be able to take us through. I was really hoping that that would do the trick and confuse you, my friend, but I guess it is what it is. Just keep blasting the land on fire. I guess an irradiate probably finishes the job, and indeed it do. And similarly, gargoyles are definitely not too bad of a fight for us at this stage in the game. Fortunately, they have really low health, so even though they can be quite scary for a spellcaster, something like irradiate just absolutely destroys. Almost as good as LRD, and using that to blow them up from the inside. Hello, my one-eyed friend, goodbye. Oh my gosh, so many Cyclops on this level. How about that? Must have been some kind of meeting. Children of Poseidon Anonymous or something like that. But not too much problem as we run away. Oh. I say slightly too soon, as if that corrosion makes things a little bit sketchier than it otherwise might. I mean, that is what I get for continuing to try and melee these buddies, instead of just letting my magic do the talking, like a good deep elf mage should. I think Ugly Thing should catch up to us here. Oh, they did for a second, but I unfortunately wasted the turn. I was hoping that the Ugly Thing would catch up so that we could just use Irradiate to make it slightly more mana efficient, make sure we're hitting multiple targets at once, and there we go. Absolutely fantastic. And again, this is a good way to warm up into the run. I'm glad we still had Dungeon Floor left, otherwise we would have had to immediately jump right into the hot water here, but instead we can take this time to try and remember our power levels here, what we can and cannot get away with, and all that fantastic stuff. If you could walk towards me, thank you, sir. So kind, so thoughtful. And not too shabby here. Again, nothing too scary, so I would hope that we're not immediately thrown off with what we've faced so far, but that may change. Oh, apparently, maybe all the Cyclops came from the entrance to vaults there. That would make a certain amount of sense. But it's this next floor where things could get potentially sketchy, depending on what's waiting for us at the gateway to the depths, as it were. You know what, let's actually leave that on and switch our ice. For our see invisible here. And slap, slap, slap. Perfect. Ooh, hello, friend. armor of fire resistance. Shouldn't be too much of a big deal, and I will definitely take you upstairs. Perfect. Getting to conjuration level 15 means that we can focus a little bit more on the other side of the coin. In fact, earth magic has already cranked up a bit, so let's see where that leaves us on statue form, shall we? Already down to 45. I think it was in like the 70s before we started. Probably should have checked that out just to have a slightly better understanding of where we're at here. Feel like, oops, that's not what we meant to do. I feel like we will actually have to train earth magic a bit higher. Yeah, 6 is maybe lowballing it a bit, bring it up to something like 8. Could potentially do the trick. And we'll give that a shot. I guess when I accidentally started choking, I probably should have taken a drink instead of just trying to force my way through it, brute force it. One day I'll recover, but maybe not today. And there we go. Hello, my friends. Everyone could just come to the stairs. That actually makes my life a heck of a lot easier and a lot safer too, which is something that cannot be overstated. Because we don't have any blinking scrolls. That's one thing that we probably should have done, is a bit more of an inventory as to what resources we have. I did remember, unfortunately, we are out of blinking scrolls. A couple of fear is decent. No summoning is unfortunate, but we might have enough to keep kicking through it here. And hey, Callie, evening to you as well. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. Thank you so much for the 7 months subscription. I appreciate your continued support and always showing up and contributing to the lovely chats we have. So thank you so much for all your support, monetary and otherwise. Greatly appreciate it. Now hopefully we can make good on that and try and get things done today without too many pitfalls coming in our way, too many terrible things happening. I'm sure we'll be just fine with you by my side. How could it possibly be otherwise? So far, not too sketchy of a D15 here. That notwithstanding, seeing as how we never swap back to our cold resistance ring. Whoopsie daisies. But should be a-okay. Yeah, I don't like that centaur. Oh, and a manticore now. How about that? Just all of our friends are showing up all at once here. Well, if we get barbed, we can maybe do something with this for now. At least light that on fire. Manticore actually helping us out by getting in the way. I very much appreciate that, my many-animaled friend. Weird way to put it. My amalgamate friend is maybe another phrasing that we could use. Here we go. Okay, we have decent fire resistance, but what is your damage? Nice. Okay, not too shabby there. We should be a-okay. The bogarts are going to be a bit of a pain since we don't have anything too smite targeted at the moment. Could just try and confuse them. Maybe pitted clouds and lighting them on fire will be enough. That would be nice. Is there a way to remove barbed? I do believe that cancellation would do it, but otherwise, not whatsoever. At least as far as I'm aware. I'm curious if, like, waiting out turns helps at all. Can't remember if I'm actually thinking of that from this game or I'm conflating it with something else, but you know, having the time to actually pick out the barbs would make a certain amount of sense. But in general, the only safe way to remove it is with cancellation, and otherwise you're kind of just stuck, unfortunately. Okay, Fire Buddy, you can go almost immediately. Actually, definitely put down our clouds here. Again, light up. We're looking a little bit lower on magic than I might otherwise like here. Probably should have switched over to using wands or more conventional means, but still does all right there. And then we just have this wraith to take care of. We're wearing our proper rings now, so that will hopefully make it a wee bit better. What is your... Oh, I thought your willpower would be higher. 71% chance to disintegrate you. Don't mind if I do. Or sorry, blow your mind, as it is these days. Fantastic. And, okay, I was about to say, I'm pretty sure there's one more Bogart hiding around somewhere. There you are, my friend. Hello and goodbye. And, ooh, we do see apportation in the spell books. That's a handy little treat. That'll just allow us to potentially ninja some runes, snatch them out from behind some enemies, and just get the heck out of there. I mean, I don't believe we're going to be traveling into the Abyss on this run. That seems like an absolute nightmare for Celebrimbor here. But that's usually where I find that to be one of the more useful areas for apportation, just because ninjaing that rune can save you a heck of a lot of trouble, especially if you get the rune that we did the last time we were in the Abyss with all the cages filled with shining eyes and many-eyed blob things. Absolutely terrifying. But okie dokie, we find a Gozag shop here, which means everything is super pricey, which is unfortunate because those boots are actually pretty nice, specifically for this resistance to electricity. That's something we're in desperate need of here. We're currently just wearing some bog standard booties. So we'll have to think about it. Maybe we'll even add it to our shopping list just in case. Yeah, disintegration is too violent, destroying every molecule in someone's body. No, but giving them an aneurysm, perfectly on. Exactly, no problems there whatsoever. Absolutely mind blasting them does not in any way have some potentially problematic connotations, right? Right. Does cancellation remove barb? Yeah, I think it does. I could be wrong though, so definitely if anyone is more aware there, let me know. Always happy to learn new things here. Or maybe not because it's not a magical effect. That's a good piece of reasoning for sure. Yeah, I do feel like it does, but there's so many little interactions in this game that unless you happen to run into that scenario, you're never really going to check out, especially since barbed isn't usually something that I would find worth using up a cancellation potion for, especially since generally if you're starting to panic and you have barbs in your skin, there's probably still a manticore right in front of you or one of the Vault Sentinel things, in which case you're kind of just delaying the problem and might be a complete waste of that potion as that effect just immediately gets slapped back down. Let's see here. Let's try and get some more fire on our stone giant friend here. Slightly concerned about you, buddy. 45 damage. We're kind of lucky that you haven't decided to toss any rocks our way. We could keep trying to confuse you, I guess. But that runs its own risk. Oh gosh, Tengu Warrior. Dang it, my friend. You were not supposed to be here. Here we go, let's try this. Need you to go down, fantastic. And fortunately, Tengu Warrior on its own here, without the bow in hand, shouldn't be too much of an issue. And it is not, fantastic. Hey Colgate, nice to see you. You got your 4th win. That's awesome. Now 3 of your 4 wins are thanks to the Jivia rework. Oh wow. Now I really have to get around to worshipping Jivia sometime, just to see what that's all about. I guess I won't be on the rework probably for quite a while here yet, but we could try and continue the grand tradition that we saw last time, but right before this version released, where we tried to get an attempt in with a lot of the changes that were being made, just so that we could try them out before anything drastic happens and see how they compare to the changes that were made after the fact. We'll have to see how she goes here. And I unfortunately chopped a bunch of heads off this Hydra while it was paralyzed. Not my smartest move, unfortunately. Could risk one more radiate. Hope that we don't get too contaminated, but it's probably not too much of an issue to also just walk away from our problems at least a bit. Let some of that contamination wear off, but not nearly enough. Oh, actually, it looks like we were 1 turn or so away because we only had 1 turn kind of in that danger zone where you might get some mutations dropping in. Should also remove my exclusion since we ended up fighting everything from that little room. Anywho here. And there we have it, done the main part of the dungeon here. You were a Spring Enchanter and got Jivia from a Fated Altar? Oh wow, that's awesome. That's where I'd hope to get it as well. Because I'm not somebody who generally excommunicates from any religion in this game, and so I feel like I'd almost have to just stumble into it on a Fated Altar, or else it gets a little bit dicey whether I'll actually change over at Slime, especially like maybe in a 15 rune run where you still have a lot of time after that. But usually I'm grabbing that for my 3rd rune. I'm already thinking about heading home to my family, so we'll have to see how it goes down. But if we just keep worshipping at Fated Altars, it's gotta happen someday, right? You would think so. But now that we're done this part of the dungeon, let's do another quick peek in here to see where everything's sitting. Statue form down to 30%. It's getting there. Not as fast as I'd like. Our relatively low intelligence is definitely starting to take a bit of a toll here. Bolts 4, time for deaths, rune 3. So we actually haven't even got runes 1 and 2 yet. But it is probably time to get heading off in that direction. I think that we could probably take a Thorn Hunter. We just need enough turns without getting absolutely slaughtered to output some of our pretty decent damage. I mean, the big thing there is that I'm almost hoping that the Thorn Hunter is right next to the stairs, because if we can just immediately resort to Irradiate, we're in a decent spot. Fulminant Prism, not too bad. The delay kind of causes some issues sometimes, especially since we don't want to have too many shots from that son of a gun. And Snake is terrifying in its own right. So I think we will probably head off to Swamp first here and see if we can't take care of that problem, shall we? I do believe it was just the one Thorn Hunter friend. We can take another peek here to see how we're feeling. Volley of Thorns being the issue, of course. 23 damage and 27 damage. Not the best, for sure. But again, as long as we can get off some early hits here, we should be alright. So let's give it a shot, shall we? You'd recommend trying Jivia with Deep Torque. It is absolutely bonkers, and you can worship Ellie before finding the Jivia altar. That is true, and if I'm okay with betraying anyone, it would probably be Ellie. So that sounds about right to me. Plus it helps that the good gods don't mind so much when you leave them, so I wouldn't have to try doing anything too fancy. So thanks for the suggestion. We'll definitely have to think about checking it out sometime here. So we got 2 of those down. Oh, the one is not actually going to do anything. Whoopsie daisies. You are susceptible to fire. I feel like before we came down, we actually probably should have learned Fireball. Could have been blasting you just a wee bit. 3d10, an extra half on top of that. Would have been really nice. Not technically too late, but this is also a decent little spot here. Didn't take any damage coming down the stairs. Haven't taken any damage while getting some of this prep work set up. So probably should just roll with it for the time being here. Ready to irradiate in just a moment. And are there any places I could put another Fulminant Prism? Not so much. So it's Manifold Assault once. Hopefully irradiate. Does a decent chunk here. Not as much as I'd like. We'll probably set up one more Fulminant while we keep blasting. And this is going to be all of our magic, hey? Please do the trick. Oh me oh my. I was kind of hoping before we came down here that we no longer would be in the danger zone with the red border around that son of a gun, but turns out it's at least not the be-all end-all. We're still in one piece here. So let's get back on the road and hope that there isn't anything else too terrifying just waiting around the next bend, shall we? Manifold Assault, really not doing the trick these days. So let's actually pop up real quick here. And we might want to learn that Fireball just in general. Might seem like a decent idea here. We're in the World Cup. That's the plan. We just have to make it through in one piece. Never didn't have it, not even worried a little bit. But yeah, I think we will learn Fireball real quick here. And we'll try it out. Can always forget it. We have at least one amnesia. Did we leave any lying around before? Oh no. Interesting. So maybe I should have thought about that a little bit more, done that search beforehand. What do we have that we will forget to learn statue form? Maybe Petrify. It's starting to fall off by this stage. I mean, it almost got us killed with that Hydra, because it lulled me into a false sense of security. Deep Dwarf with health regen felt almost cheating. Yeah, I'll have to try it out, because that's my main thing, is Deep Dwarves. I've always heard about them and gotten a lot of recommendations to try them out as a very, like, powerful species, especially for the speed running. But I've never quite gotten the hang of them. I've always found myself struggling, running out of mana completely, so I felt like I'm doing something wrong most of the time. So it'd be nice to try out something a little bit fresh in that regard and see if that shakes out for me at all. Okay, you are not in range. There we are. Good first cast. Great start to this encounter. Just run away real quick. And you woke up this time. That's fun. Well, we should be able to just throw one of these down here, still get a fireball off. Hopefully you step towards me into the explosion radius. Fantastic. Thank you for acquiescing. I appreciate it. And very similarly, we can just kind of do the same thing here. Fantastic. We're making a lot of noise, so I actually expected a few more buddies to come crawling out of the woodwork, but not complaining about it for sure either. I'll take what I can get. I also kind of forgot that we have that Ring of Wizardry on us, so we could potentially use that to get statue form online just a little bit sooner here, seeing as how it is definitely a bit of a sketchy situation in that regard. Ooh, and I do not like this. In fact, speaking of which, this would be a good time to have statue form. But that's fine. And minor damage shouldn't be too bad even without the positive energy at our side. Just have to make sure we blow you up relatively quickly here. And I mean, having some undodgeable spells will definitely help with that. Ooh, not quite as well off as I expected. Maybe an Ice Blast to finish it all off here. There we go, fantastic. Not a great sign that we're redlining our magic points every single time. That's generally something you want to avoid, just to make sure that you're in a good spot for the next fight that you come across. So we might have to keep that in mind for the future here and just try and be a little bit more cautious with where we're sitting at the end of each and every one of these little encounters here. Alligator can go south real quick. So funny how there's certain monsters that you find, you know, relatively early on in the mid-game here. Generally, anything you find in lair isn't going to be too terrifying when you find them in the S branches. But alligators and Komodo dragons can generally hold their own a little bit later into the run. At least for a squishy little buddy like ourselves here. Can I sneak a fireball around? I can. Fantastic. Please don't harpoon me. That would be exceptionally unfortunate. But there we go. This is where we should, start to slow down a bit. Keep some of our mana around, unless the fight goes poorly, and then apparently we have to just throw all those reservations out the window. You know what, there will be another time to learn, I guess. And hello, Louise. At least this time around, we have decent willpower. That's something that I feel like we've been struggling with lately. Lightning Bolt is pretty rough, though, without any resistance to electricity, and 100 health is a bit more than I would like to chunk through at the moment. Guess chance to petrify you is only 22, so that's not great either. Could reach into our pocket and try out using some of these evocables, but for the time being, I think I'll just walk back a few steps, let Louise continue on their merry way. Oh, apparently not. Don't notice me. Don't notice me, please. I'm in a corner. This is a bad spot. Okay, she did walk away. Now can I sneak around? Because I do really want this potion here. There we go. Fantastic. We have decent resistance to fire, so you shouldn't be too much of a problem. Another ghost crab. How about that? Nicole Gate, on your Spring Enchanter run, you had trouble luring enemies in Zot 5. You had super high stealth and noise dampening mutations, so even casting Lightning Bolt just outside their line of sight took several tries without them forgetting about you too soon. That's fantastic. Even Maxwell's capacitive coupling didn't catch much attention. That's pretty incredible. Definitely what you want on a stealthy buddy like that. Oh gosh, I don't have great recourse for attacking you, hey? I mean, you're only resistant to fire, not immune, so we can probably throw down a fireball, and that'll do the trick. But then this crab kind of becomes the next issue at hand. Let's maybe crawl around the corner here. Where are you, friend? Radiate at least does a better job than just the fireballs did for this son of a gun. Made a lot of noise, so here comes Louise. To be expected. We've explored most of the levels, so I'm actually going to just read an early teleport here and get the heck out. Fantastic. No need to start that fight when we're already in a slightly dodgy position. Or a fight that we were already worried about. Probably not the best time to risk it all. But hey, got away in one piece, and if we run into Louise again here, I think we'll try it out. So, box of beasts for sure. Son of a gun. Maybe let her walk to us. Stone arrow isn't that much better, really, with our current defenses, but at least doesn't pierce through to our poor weird shock beast. Oh gosh. It's just a larva. How could you, Louise? Even the children? Okie dokie, what else do we want to do here? Condenser vein could come out in just a moment when she peeks her head around the corner. Could also set up a few of these bad boys. Or just one, and then you'll come around. Hello, friend. Do we want to try for that 22% petrify? I guess you're not poison resistant, so we also could throw something like this down. You're fire resistant, aren't you? Ooh, that's a bit of a shame. Well, well, well. In that case, still step down. Start irradiating you. That is less than ideal, shall we say. Not exactly skyrocketing my hopes for the future. But that, on the other hand, was much better. Just a few irradiates and we're in a pretty decent spot. Can I sneak one of these through? Not so much, hey? That's fine. We'll instead maybe resort to Mind Burst. Should be about... Actually, I thought it'd be lower than 58%. I thought it would be more similar to our Petrify chance. Let's blow your mind. Resist with significant effort. That's not too bad. It's a start. Maybe we will risk irradiating ourselves just to make sure we get out of this fight before things get sketchy. There we are. Ah, and we do get a bad mutation. Gosh darn it. What a start to our day. Well, hey, we knew the risks going into it. I don't know if it makes it better or worse when you call the shot like that, but we have potion mutation for sale. That makes it only 2 total. Do I want to quaff this right away? Let's at least finish this floor, since being teleported next to monsters shouldn't be the end of the world in this scenario here. My swamp drake friend, goodbye. Okie dokie, now I have to decide before going down to Swamp 2. I feel like that's not great. Might have to chug one of those back right away here. Jivia made Malmutate meaningless. That's always great. High Will made Liches irrelevant. 2 pips of fire resistance up for oops, because they didn't notice you much, and High Evasion stuff will also help you with clowns. You'd think you didn't catch any pies. That is a lovely situation. I mean, that's the dream, right? When you can have all of the contingencies lined up just so to cover the multiple bases that you have to be dealing with. But yeah, I think that the teleport mutation, teleportitis here, is a bit more than I'm willing to work with going into brand spanking new floors on this character. So, gonna have to chug a potion, cross our fingers, and hope it's good. Feel ourselves wasting away. We are stable at least, that's something. Body deteriorating when taking damage. We have 6 strength, so it's not the end of the world. We're not quite as likely to find ourselves at collapse status as we normally are, at least. Passively mapping a small area around you probably doesn't help us out too much. I mean, maybe we could actually take on like Pass Wall or something. I think we had Pass Wall, but maybe not. Oh, unfortunately we do not. but we'll see how handy that comes in the future here. And interesting. We have just transmutations on. It's almost at the cap we set it to, and we're still at 22% failure rate with statue form. I think that means that Earth is going to come back on. Bring it up to 10 real quick. We'll see how long that takes and where it leaves us. Hopefully looking a little bit better here. Hello, my draconic friend. Pop one of these here, one of them here. Not too bad. Ooh, I don't really want both of you next to me. That's less than ideal. Probably doing alright with Irradiate here. Take both of them out relatively quickly. You should be 1 or 2 hits. Maybe similar for you. Well, let's do it. One more Fulminant Prism there for good measure. 1 hit is exactly what we're hoping for, and not too shabby here. It's always interesting when you're a bit of a glass cannon like this, because hey, we are able to kill things very well. No problems whatsoever. The only issue, the rub therein, is that we have to not die in the process, which is sometimes a little bit trickier to pull off. Corrosive Frog here. Not too bad. Nice Telesaurus helps with teleportitis. It does, and I guess we don't currently have any blink scrolls, so that's not quite as much of an issue as normal. I do like being able to teleport though, so I'm glad to do it here. I'm thinking outside the box, cast a high-level translocation spell to get dimensionally anchored to offset teleportitis. Absolutely 5-head. 300 IQ plays. As long as you don't get killed, you'll look like a genius, and that's the important part. Just have pure confidence going into it, and you can convince people of anything. Let's switch over to resistance to corrosion, or not. Oh no, there you are. Hello, friend. Do I want to bother with Fireball? No, we'll probably stick with our Fulminant Prisms for now. Oh, right. That's a concern, though. Should have placed my my Fulminant Prisms so that we were able to step up to the frog. Kind of forgot about that reaching tongue. Whoopsie daisies. Let's see how much that hits you for. Answer is not enough, so we'll quickly pop up here. Try this one on for size again, shall we? This time leaving that nice gap. Stepping in. Oh, no. Right, you won't step in at the same time as us, or as us rather, because you have reach. 1 week away from the game and I've apparently forgotten all the most basic concepts. How about that? As long as it doesn't get us killed, we'll be doing alright here. Hey Crackety Jones, thank you so much for the 100 bits, I appreciate it. My man, good vibes here. I'm glad. Glad to always try and provide a nice spot for people to just come and relax. Heck, even if you don't play DCSS, I'll try my best to drone and narrate, help people get to sleep, maybe. Helps that most of the heavy lifting is done by the Polybridge soundtrack, of course. But I'll take what I can get. Where does this leave us? Statue form is now in the yellow. Still not that much more castable, but it's getting there. Things are happening. And that's always great. Should also say that it's fantastic to see you, Crackety. Always love to see familiar names. So thanks for dropping on by, hanging out with little old me, and the nice, lovely group of chat that we've accumulated over the last while here. Fireball, not the most castable spell, but apparently all good in that regard, so never mind. Of course, when we're in a low-stakes scenario, that's when we're gonna pass those 90% checks 4 times in a row instead of the opposite, which is when your life's in danger. You're gonna fail a 5% failure rate twice in a row, switch over to a different spell, fail again. Such is the joy of probability. No. How many species do we have left to win on? Oh, I think it's 10? No, it's 11. Because there's still Ogre and Deep Dwarf on Intermediate, and then all the advanced species will be the last ones to get run through. I'm hoping that we can get a little bit more back on schedule, because Deep Elf here has been a huge chunk of our overall time spent in this series. So Just need to get through here, and then we'll be absolutely swimming. Right? No problems whatsoever. I'm definitely not going to be claiming that we're cursed again sometime in the future. That doesn't sound like me at all. Instead, this is going to be the last of our troubles, and then smooth sailing, even feel it. No problems whatsoever. Let's call our shot now, shall we? Well, Jones, you see Tor replaced the entire list of species with deep elf, so yeah, you know, they're just my favorite, so I thought, what better time to force people into gaining a bit greater appreciation for our Sylvan friends here. But one of these days, we'll be able to move forward, and won't that be a treat? Anomia, not too bad. I was worried that they'd heal up from a tree there, and we'd have to crank through a little bit more there after already becoming pretty much maximum contamination levels. But no problems whatsoever here. I say, again, just slightly too soon. At least Irradiate is an absolute game changer, so have to do that sketchy move of stepping towards an enemy in a game where so much of the strategy revolves around running away from danger. It seems like a very silly thing to do sometimes, but I guess you've got to risk it to get the biscuit, and every once in a while you have to try and find that perfect level of acceptable risks to make it through. Also, bad time to irradiate there. Whoopsie daisies, but no problems whatsoever. Okie dokie. We'll keep it moving here, and hopefully the rest of Swamp doesn't pose too much of a risk. Wouldn't that be lovely? Just a dream come true. At least Swamp 2 here isn't too bad. Again, if I could just learn how to do basic human tasks like breathing and drinking, that would help out a lot, but we'll see. We're all learning here, right? And hey, Arthur C. Clark finally caught me live. I'm glad. Always lovely to see new people around. I've definitely recognized you from the YouTube side of things, so welcome and happy to have you around. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend, and thanks for dropping on by. Sure, we can make some noise here real quick. Spring and Friend will wake up. In fact, why don't we just walk upstairs so that we don't have to worry about dealing with anything outside of our wheelhouse here? Like I said, absolutely nothing outside of our wheelhouse. Excuse me, friend. Who invited you to the party? Well, what a run we have here. On your Spring Enchanter run, you also learned that Death Channel is actually pretty good. It's almost like being a oh my gosh. Let's roll back that, try that again. Apparently even not trying to go for the full name, I just can't pronounce whatsoever. It's almost like being Yered worshiper while letting you not have to actually worship them. Hey, then it all works out. It's a win-win.